This is chaos.
In front of you is just...
Yeah, I just shove it.
My crafting stuff is actually...
shoving it. We're alive.
That's right. I just shove it.
I just moved into a room.
Every time.
My craft stuff's actually looking pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Does look good. Very fancy.
There you go. Cubbies. It's like
You
kindergarten.
can't see mine. I do
here.
not allow that.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, we need like a cleaning challenge or an organization challenge of our crafting rooms because
We really do.
I
really do.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I went there and it was brutal.
Yeah.
Clearly, what I'm hearing is that I should pick Marie Kondo's book for mine.
It's
If you've got a week or two.
I've already done it. I've already
Yes
read
and
it.
no
So
on that book, but I'll tell you later.
No, it only works for some people it doesn't. It's like
There's just some of the stuff she talks about is like, especially clothing-wise, is super problematic.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what? That's when I was listening to it and I was really enjoying it. And then she got to that part and I was like, I hate you now.
It's one of those. It's one of those cultural
hate
things.
you.
I think it's one of those cultural things. I think
It could be.
The
I don't
book-
really know, but yeah, there's some seriously problematic shit going on in the how women should dress section.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Boy.
I've got that on hold with the library.
Maybe I
so
need to
can't
just
wait
take
to
the
see that.
concepts of that I've collected from others and just implement that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
if
I would say
nothing
borrow
else,
it.
Figuring out how to fold is great. So
Yeah, that's
already
always
know that.
nice.
I worked
She
at
has
the
some
Gap.
good ideas, but
slightly different.
yeah.
I bet it's
there's
not.
some stuff in there, but
I have it on hold at the library. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna buy it though.
Yeah,
a brand
I think
new,
that's a good choice.
brand new, not bullshit Kindle. And it's got
Yay,
the
you
Mary
Oh,
chart.
yay!
Because I found another place that worked even better for the Sailor Moon one.
Nice.
Hello, here we are. I guess
Hi,
I'm
Amelia. I think
hosting,
you're
right?
hosting.
Because it's my book. Okay. We read Shadowshaper by Daniel Jose Older. I can say that I liked it. So let's just go around. Rosie, tell us what you thought of the book.
I liked it quite a bit. And one of the things I loved most about it is it's so refreshing to finally read main characters, not just a main character set in a white world, but a whole story of main characters, which is people of color and whole different cultures. And one of the other things that I thought was really cool is that I've got a really good friend who lives in Brooklyn, and so I've taken that subway down to Coney Island, and I mean, it was just really cool to go like, oh, I know where they are.
That is cool.
I mean,
Definitely
being a
cool.
total West Coast girl, that was really exciting to me. So, in a nutshell, I thumbs up it.
Yay! Thumbs up. Izzy, what about you?
I loved it, and this is now a new like go-to rec for people. I think for me, it was just way too enjoyable. And having lived like in South Florida, I find it very easy to like relate to the culture they're talking about and like identify like pieces, even though I'm not Spanish. So for me, I was just like, oh, okay, I know what this is, and I know about this sort of dynamic and stuff going on a little more.
Cool.
So thumbs up for sure.
Yay! Eris?
I have like kind of two opinions on it, and both of them are positive though. There's like me sitting in front of this monitor who, is 31, a grown-ass adult, and I think it's very good. And then there's 13-year-old me who thinks this is the greatest book that's ever been written, and oh my god, you guys, you have to read this. No, seriously, this is so good, and would get really fucking obnoxious about it. So I've got kind of like a duality to it, but like both of it's positive. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would definitely have appealed to younger me even more than it appealed to grown-up me. But yeah, it was.
Exactly.
Yeah,
13-year-old me would get obnoxious about it. Shut up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Matt, what about you? What do you think?
Reading because it was scary.
It was a little creepy.
Sorry.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
I liked it.
Cool.
Yay!
I liked it a lot.
I feel like I scored
Wait,
across the board here. It's delightful.
right?
Yeah, I
I
feel
was
like
just like,
2
this
for
book-
2 in my lifetime.
Right.
Wow.
She picked some pretty
Yay.
terrible books before. It's fine. We all did.
I have definitely not won all of them.
This is amazing. Like the magic was really good in it. The creepiness wasn't so creepy that I noped out of it. So that was nice as well.
NSFN.
Yes,
Not safe- not
exactly.
safe for
Not
us.
safe for us. That's a new rating that we do. I enjoyed, which I'm sure we'll get into a little more when we talk about it, but my husband, before becoming what he does now, he was an anthropologist, so I enjoyed all of the anthropological questions that it asked.
Yes.
I thought that was really, really good, and it was really good. I enjoyed the crap out of this book. I read it in one sitting.
Yes.
I had to really stop myself not to read it in one sitting because I didn't want to be 3 weeks done with it by the time we met. It was hard.
I saved it for the readathon yesterday, so I knew I was going to finish it all at once.
Yeah, I did the audiobook, which was, I think it was only 7 hours. But I did it in I started it yesterday and finished it this morning. No problem at all.
The audiobook was great. Did you like it? The reader was pretty good.
I think the audiobook made me like it more.
Yeah.
Because the inflections and stuff for the Spanish were just perfect. And
incidental note, the audiobook version for WhisperSync on Kindle is on sale today for $2.99.
Ooh, interesting.
Nice. Well,
there's
worth it.
part of me that wishes that I had a teenage relative to be like, yo, okay, you're gonna love this shit. I do not. All of them are too young right now. They would give.
Would you like me to recommend it to my daughter on your behalf?
I mean, if you know her better than I do, but I would love to see a kid, a teenager.
Well, she's 15. I'm gonna see her on Friday.
There you go.
Do y'all want to hear the audio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, totally.
Is it as good as my old Kindle's Microsoft Stam?
No, it's better.
This building won't be mad about my mural? We're sure they will be, Manny chuckled. That's why we asked you to do it. We hate the tower. We spit on the tower. Your paint is our nasty loogie hot upon the stupidity that is the tower.
And she does the voices for me, and it's just perfect. The audio is so good.
You're listening to, what, 1.5 there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
That made me sad because Manny.
No, 1.25 actually.
Okay.
I did listen to it at 1.5, and it was
Was it ridiculous?
okay.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't too bad. Because of the Spanish in it, I was just like, okay, yeah. This is I'm back in Florida listening to people talk Spanish occasionally.
Yeah.
Because that was the parts that were really fast, and I was like, oh, hey, I feel like somebody's trying to talk to me that I don't understand.
Yeah. I only had to look up one word. I think it was guayabera, and it's the shirt.
Yeah,
Cute, Puerto Rican shirt.
Yeah.
Which I can totally picture as soon as I looked it up. I was like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah,
but
no.
I did not know the word before that. So I learned a thing. I feel good about learning a thing. All right, so questions that we asked about this book. How did you feel about the teens in the book? Did you think they were well represented and had good dialogue? Because that can be tricky.
I liked the Scooby Gang. They did turn into kind of a Scooby Gang at the end, and I liked
They
that.
did. Well, and I love that some of them noped out.
Yeah.
Most of them were in, but a couple were like, nah, I'm good. I'm going home.
You know what? Coney Island in the daytime without wizards is bad enough. So, bye.
Now that you've told this story, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Bye.
Yeah, they're like, nah, I'm not down with this magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the only one that bugged me was Robbie.
Oh, yeah?
He was
Sweetie Pie.
He was annoyingly absent. I never really got a grasp of where he kept going.
It's true. They never really explained that. When he pieced out when she was getting attacked.
He just kept abandoning her.
Yeah, he was kind of annoying with that.
I think the only thing that I
him.
came up with on that is that he legitimately thought that she was not a Shadowshaper, and so those things could only have been after him, and so by leaving, he was drawing the danger away from her.
Right.
I was a little bit annoyed at the fact that she needed a savior. And I get it that she needed somebody to teach her, but it didn't have to be a boy magically appeared last month from out of town, or I don't know. That was the only piece that kind of annoyed me.
There was also a part where she's like,
but then
I
at least he got
him.
canceled. So that
he did, but there was a point where
canceled.
she was looking at his murals and oh, I really want to be able to do stuff like him. I really admire him. Honey, you've known him for a month, and you've been and you've been doing your own thing for a while.
Yeah, but that's teenage love, right?
I was gonna say, in her defense,
I thought it was a good
right?
representation of teenage love, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I thought
it was cute.
I'm somebody who gets treated like a teenager a lot, even though I am well past teenage age. And I thought it was really nice how they showed the teens like being teens, and it wasn't just like you know when you read some of the young adult stuff with teens, it's like, oh hey, look at you, you're a teenager and you're gonna
Uh-oh, we lost you.
Uh-oh.
No.
Lost it.
No.
Oh
in their life.
There we go. She's back.
Oh, there's you.
Okay.
We lost you for like most of whatever you just said.
I was, of course.
Yes.
I'll repeat it.
Thank
I know
you.
mine's been hitching a little bit. It's weird. I don't know what's going on.
Go ahead.
No, I just think it's nice to see
Google
teens
for sure.
being teens in a book for young adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Versus
opposed
this
to-
like, I read a lot of the fantasy young adult stuff, I guess, and you see them be like teens for a second, and then it's like, go save the world. Good luck.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like, no, like,
Yeah.
be a teen a little bit. And it
That's
felt,
true.
at first I thought the dialogue was a little clunky for the teens, but then it kind of, it settled in the right way, where I was like, okay, no, this is pretty natural. See teens talking like this.
I felt the whole book was just, or especially the beginning of the book, was a tiny bit clunky overall. And I think, I don't know if this was a freshman effort, but
Nope, it's not.
It's not.
okay.
think it's
So there
his
was
first
like
book.
just the first couple of chapters, I had a hard time like sinking into it, but once I was in, I was definitely in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why. I'm not even sure what that was about, but I did find at the beginning it was, and when I got the audio, it got better. I felt more connected to the character when I picked up
The fact that it kept me enthralled speaks highly, because there's nothing about this book that's the normal thing I would pick. It's not. I don't typically read YA. I don't like anything that's remotely scary, and I know it's not terribly scary, but you know, I read in bed before I fell asleep, and it was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
But
is
it kept me. It kept me. You know, I mean, I was like, oh, I got to read now. I got to go finish reading because I wanted to know the story. It was good enough that it kept me enthralled, and that I think speaks pretty highly of it. So
this was his second book, but his first YA book. It looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's his first, YA book.
Yeah, I wonder if he was moving voice around a little bit to find that YA fit.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
it turned out great.
But yeah.
like, you guys read more YA. I almost never do. And, you know, it's just because I don't read that much in general because I'm super slow. But, like, was this kind of, like, in a normal tone for YA?
I wouldn't say so.
A
No.
normalized tone? Okay. Like, up or down? Like, on who they're talking to? Like to somebody older than YA or younger than what's the usual YA demographic? Or not even, like, that's not even the question I should be asking.
I don't know. I didn't notice it, and which means to me it was not too top-downy.
Okay.
Is what I can say. Some YA really makes me cringe, where
Yeah.
I'm reading it like this feels like it's written for a 13-year-old, and this didn't. Although my 13-year-old self would have loved it, I don't think it felt like it was condescendingly written to a 13-year-old.
Oh, that's why 13-year-old me would love it because
Yeah.
it's more grown up and.
Well, I think this was written for an older YA audience,
You
but
think
it was
so?
also, yes, I think it was also written in a way that a younger YA audience, like 13, 14, could enjoy it as well.
I can see it as like a both thing where like it totally works on both sides of the spectrum for YA.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't like too treacly or I don't know what.
And it
Some
definitely
YA
doesn't
say.
lean like some YA leans more like middle grade-ish, if that makes sense. I feel like,
Yeah.
and this definitely it does
No.
not.
This was very firmly in YA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and that's nice actually, because sometimes you'll get into one and you're like, wait, I thought this was YA, and it feels like you're reading a middle grade.
Yeah, middle grade is.
Yeah, but I definitely felt
Mess.
like I was not, as a 30-something-year-old woman, was not the demographic, the audience that he was writing for, which was nice.
yeah.
Sometimes I've read a YA where it felt like they were trying to get the 30-something white women who read YA.
Yeah, get that Hunger Games money.
we
I
need
have
more
to say, I've
Katniss.
never looked at the author's name, and I didn't realize till just now when we started talking that it was written by a man. I'm impressed with his way of writing female characters. I think he did a very. I assumed that it was written by a woman because of the way the main character's voice carries. Very true.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a wonderful job. Like, writing.
I agree with you on the female character's voice being right. That makes sense. I think that, and I brought this up in one of my questions, like, he kind of tried to do, like, two narratives, one of those being about female empowerment, and one of those I was like, you're close. you do get a gold star sticker for you tried in my book, but like a lot of this was like the whole Lucera thing and a possible pedestal problem, but can we put that aside because otherwise it's got all this really good stuff happening for it. Overall, like if there is a problematic element to the female voice in it, I don't think it's so much that it like tanks any of the argument, that any of the other really good stuff that he is doing.
He definitely nailed stuff like, I mean, we can just skip to that question, and the question was you already said it, so I'll just go with it. I think he did write, like, it didn't feel like a male gaze book at all.
Right.
Really great. And I thought he got down to things like hair issues and body image issues in a way that was not super hammery, but was really, really nuanced and well done.
And not gross, which I appreciated.
I was, like, super thrilled at the body positivity. Like, I was just like, yes, like, nailed it. Especially by the end of the book. And, like, when she tore into her aunt.
Yeah.
I was
just...
Good to know that the racist relative is a cross-cultural issue.
Good.
Good, yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, totally. I felt like I was getting a peek into a culture that I did not get to grow up in and did not have a big experience of, but he touched on things that I assume, having no real knowledge, that someone growing up in that culture would identify with. And I was like, this is cool that I get to be a witness for a minute to this kind of struggle, to this kind of just thought process, and how it's different from growing up as a little white girl.
Yeah. Oh, I've watched the people that I work with deal with it. One of the paralegals that I work with, she's got actually a little boy, and they occasionally have had to deal with his skin, his hair, and I'm like, oh geez, like this is so unfair. Like you kind of want to just like put a little like I'm sorry card just hanging up like next to your head while you're also talking. So it's like, hey, I'll have this conversation with you because you're my friend, but also I just want to leave it out there like sorry.
Yeah. Well, and I like the way it wasn't like a message novel or an issue novel. I think that's what I wrote, and I was wondering what you guys thought about like the representation of different cultures and different genders and different sexualities. It didn't feel like this is a book about Latinas. You know what I mean? It just felt like a book about people.
Yeah, it was beautifully written in that way of just like it was people, it was characters coming to life in very diverse situations. I mean, you had lesbians, you had like different Latin cultures and everything just being represented. It was nice. Like I didn't walk away like, wow, I was preached to a lot in this book about X issue, like some can come across for sure.
Even though I think he was pretty like big on his themes. Like his themes very strong, very present in very like clever and good ways. So he never like lost his theme, but it wasn't like a preachy with it. It was just a natural part of the story.
Yeah, so big on ancestry and history and I loved the magic in the book too.
I thought it was very clever.
I wish I could draw.
I know, right? When we first met the gay couple, I remember thinking to myself, how cool is this that it's not a trope and it's not being pushed down our throat. It's become culturally comfortable enough that now it can just be a thing. It's one of the couples they hang out with at their high school group. And I really, really like that. And I have no idea if they spoke properly to the Latino culture, but because I've never been part of it, but if they treated that with the same level of if the author treated that with the same level of realism and respect that he did with the couple, then I think it was probably a really excellent representation. Also, I liked the magic too. It reminded me a little bit of Gabriel Garcia Marquez's magical realism.
Yeah, I love those books.
I do too. They're amazing. Yeah.
Even if everybody has the same freaking name.
Maria, Carmen.
Right? You need like a family tree to get through those.
Yeah.
But they're good. Ness, I was thinking this relates to the anthropology stuff. Did you want to talk about that? Because I thought that was really good.
I guess I don't know if anyone's watching, but so the thing that I underlined was I think it was Nydia talking about like who decides who gets to watch and who is watched. It wasn't her. It was one of the kids. I can't remember which one. Because there was a white anthropologist who ends up being the antagonist of the story, trying to take on their powers and their culture for himself and to take that over. And I thought, so this is only tangentially related to that, but when they're in the coffee shop, that was in their neighborhood, and it used to be a place that they could go to and feel comfortable, and they were surrounded by white people, and they were conscious of how loud they were being and other people looking at them, and that this was no longer a space where they felt comfortable. I thought he did that really well. Like, as a white person reading that, I was like, wow, this is uncomfortable. Like, this is the other side of gentrification.
Yeah.
And it took a minute to like sit with that and be uncomfortable with that, because I kind of felt like that was the point. Like that was what I needed to be taking away as a white person.
Up here in the kind of New York media area, we talk about gentrification a lot, and my father's family had a family house in Brooklyn in the Bay Ridge area, which doesn't get covered because that was always kind of like back in the 40s and 50s and up through the 60s, it was still like kind of that like Irish, Italian, Jewish mix, and now it's mostly like families from Southeast Asia, also like India, Pakistan, a lot of people from there, but Brooklyn as a whole is like they had to sell the family house, and the person who sold it got a frankly ridiculous amount of money for that old pre-war brownstone that, my drunk-ass grandpa put crooked wood paneling on the walls of back in the 1950s. Like, there's something, like, Brooklyn is weird, and I think everybody up here kind of, like, we know something not cool is going on, but then you also want to be like, well, it's making the neighborhood safer. And that's something that I don't think... Like, and it wasn't his job to address this because he was just talking about like the people who are already there. But I would have loved to see something like kind of like throw a rock at that. I would have loved to see the characters.
Well, I thought it was good. I mean, because he did touch on like safer for who.
That's like, exactly what I was going to say.
Attacked by the throng hate thing, which that was the scariest part to me.
Yeah,
she was getting chased by that thing, and then the sorrows and all that stuff. And she's out in the front lawn of all these like white people that have moved into the neighborhood, and no one will help her. She's
just some drunk girl from the Puerto Rican club down.
Yeah, she's just one of them drunk girls, and I was like, wow, like so. We have made neighborhoods safer through gentrification for who now? Like
for white people. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I thought that was really without being I'm going to preach at you about gentrification. Right. Without being that, it was very much through her eyes what it's like.
Well, that's the thing. All you have to do is show the effects, and people kind of realize that, oh, this is not.
Hopefully.
Maybe this neighborhood didn't need an artisanal cheese shop. Maybe.
Right.
Just maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah. So honestly, like we get stories about like neighborhoods coming up with this sort of thing all the time, and actually Bed-Stuy is one that keeps coming up because. Like developers have always been shits, but now it's even worse. And what is it? WNYC. One of the radio stations up around here is doing a series that I've actually listened to a part of called "There Goes the Neighborhood," and it basically goes back like gentrification before the Bloomberg era and how like these neighborhoods have always been changing. Mm-hmm. So I think if anybody wants to hear even more about Brooklyn, the There Goes the Neighborhood series.
Totally.
I think 99% Invisible actually showed one of those episodes. They're really good. So.
Cool.
Okay, so my question was, did you guys see that Lucera bit coming? Because I didn't, and I felt really dumb when it happened. I was like, oh.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Like who she was? No.
Yeah.
Like that it was the grandma?
Yeah.
No, I saw the wick part coming.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it coming that it was the grandma at all. Like, and I felt really dumb too. I was like, wait, How did I miss
Right? The whole book has been about ancestry. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot.
But it's kind of buried in a way, like, not in a bad way, just like, it's hidden in a way, because they don't really talk about the grandma very much at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you just start thinking about her. So I don't think it's a bad thing to miss it.
Yeah, and also, like, she already had that ancestry tie-in because her grandpa.
Of her jerk grandpa? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, her sexist grandpa. Yeah.
That's right. He's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of accurate for the age group he would be in, so.
But, I actually, occasionally when I'm reading these books, I will write myself a called it note. So, at a little under 25% in, I wrote out, is this a story of a bunch of old men thinking they were hot shit, disrespecting a woman, losing their power in her absence, and then still being too macho to let a woman help them fix their fuck up? Nailed it. Nailed it. So that was the first theme I found in the book. Another theme that I kept noticing, but I never quite figured out what, like, because 13-year-old me went wild, like, looking for, like, running themes and shit. And another one was crossroads. Mm-hmm. Crossroads was showing up everywhere. It was in the song. The club that they all went to was Carrefour, which is close to Carrefour. Nas, help me out. Which is French for crossroads. Calfou is also a voodoo like spirit kind of element who is one of the lords of the crossroads. I was like, cool, I have all this information. What do I do with it? No, just sit on it. It's cool. So I thought,
no, that's interesting.
That's pretty neat. You're such a nerd.
I think that's awesome.
No, in like a good way. I'm just sitting here like, yep.
Yeah.
You're a fucking nerd.
I was like, really? What? I know it's always a good read when I can get Wikipedia involved. I was like, I know that word.
There's a reason you work in law stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, actually,
you like research.
No, was it Ness and Amanda actually? I think it was you and Amanda when we had her on as a guest. Kind of made fun of me for like, no, we have to dissect the bullshit and figure out what its sources are so we can completely dismantle it. They're like, dude, calm down.
Sometimes bullshit is just bullshit,
just
though.
call it
like,
bullshit.
Sometimes
and, I thought about
bullshit.
it. Man, you're just pissed because I can see the arrows in the sky, okay? I can see the
If that means you're Steve Carlsberg,
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
Steve Carlsberg, that's a terrible thing to say.
Right? Like,
I have no problem with that.
Steve Carlsberg put the Beagle on a bad path. That's all I'm going to say.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, what do we think about the language in the book? The mix of Spanish, phonetic writing, colloquial grammar?
I really liked it. I thought, cause I feel like it was done really well, and it's usually not. Like, usually when you see phonetic grammar and different grammars and cultural grammar, right,
you get very real.
Or you get, it was really well done. It was actually, I was listening to a language nerd podcast that I listened to, and it was about the black accent and like how different communities have different grammars, and I thought he clearly did the research and like lived in it and maybe even talks in it, I don't know, to do this in a good way without seeming like he was just trying to bear all of us, right? Like he didn't just write it out and then copy paste occasional words in. There really is a grammar to this cult, like this language that they speak. There is a way to speak it properly, and that's what he conveyed.
Yeah, it wasn't just, we're gonna make arroz con pollo now, like
No, that was like it was worked in the way that I like here every time I go to my office. Like it was like, but I will say I wrote that as a nest baiting question because I don't know, the captain of the grammar police over here wasn't sure.
I could do English. Different languages have different grammars.
I know, I understand that.
Apparently.
It's a joke. But also, I will say
she's not accepting your joke.
Yeah.
She never
has to be funny to be a joke.
It does.
I think it's funny that you've taken over my place as the grammar.
I don't
see.
Listen,
I've just been getting her grammar bullshit.
Nobody here knows me as the grammar person, and I kind of like it because I can fuck up now, and it doesn't matter.
People like accidental grammar errors are fine, but if you ask me if you've done a grammar thing wrong, I'm gonna tell you.
Oh yeah.
Don't ask if you don't want to know.
I own it. Like I'll tweet. I'm like, shit, I spelled that wrong.
Oh, I'll correct people. I corrected my best friend once, and she let me know that was not okay, and never to do it again.
Yeah, see, I never had much of the I mean, audibly, I feel like grammar stuff you don't always hear. Of course, so like I had no issue. It was just kind of like okay.
Yeah,
like,
it made sense.
Really smooth and really nice.
Yeah, even written down, it worked really well.
That's the thing. If I heard teenagers saying like, "Well, I'm going to be at the market," instead of I'm going to be at the market in 20 minutes, I would think that was weird. Like, why is a teenager using like Oxford English Dictionary like perfect grammar? They don't talk like that, especially not up here. Like it doesn't feel right for the location. So
yeah.
I thought it was really cool. Did like having the Spanglish? I know there are some people whose like eyes get crossed.
No, it's great.
Yeah, it felt very natural. It felt very natural. Like
it reminded me of what half of my family is French. It reminds me of what we do when we go up there. The ones that speak both French and English, you go back and forth.
Yeah.
And it just depends on the words.
I definitely fall into Spanglish from living in Miami for like 5 years. Sometimes it's really great.
Yeah. Well, and Amelia and I, being as close to Mexico as we are in southern Arizona, I hear it all the time. You hear it in the grocery store, you hear it in the library. Yeah, it's just it's everywhere, and it rang very true the way it was written.
Same as
it didn't ping me at all probably because it's my day to day.
Yeah, it would be weird going to Bed-Stuy and not hearing many different languages. So I thought that was a really good inclusion. It did not feel gimmicky. Is what I wanted to. But again, this is a guy who would know how to use that. Considering like you can tell he kind of lives some of this minus the shadow monsters.
Well, I think that's great. I think it's great that comes across for him, as a writer. All right, how do we feel about the world building?
I loved it. I just wrote world building and a bunch of hearts around it in my notes. I really enjoyed the way that he blended a real, actual place that exists.
Yeah.
With interweaving in, magical elements of it. It felt like this could be a world that is like that we would have nothing to know about it because we're white people and white people are the worst. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
it feels like this could be happening.
At the same time, like, it seemed like so many people knew about this that you're like, seriously, did everyone know that Superman was Clark Kent except for, like, our one main character? Like, it did feel like maybe too many people knew, was my only gripe.
I can see that. I didn't feel that way because it was like, a group. It was 10 people who all knew, and they were all either Shadowshapers or, in badass Uncle Neville's case, somebody who had bailed out the Shadowshapers when they did stupid shit.
Shadowshaper adjacent.
Right.
But there were so many characters, like people who were like in Grandpa's like little club, or like that we never actually met except for when they were already dead. But then there was Manny, and it's like, well, what did he do? I'd like to know what he did. Did he paint? Did he?
I think
it sounded like he ran a subversive underground newspaper.
Right, which was rad.
Ran a magazine.
But I mean, like, what was his like Shadowshaper jutsu? Like, what was his thing? I would have liked to see.
We didn't get a lot on the older generation, except that they fucked it up.
Which I feel like makes sense. Like, they were actively keeping that information from Sierra, so she wouldn't have that information, and she would have had no way to get it.
Well, after the way her mom responded, I don't blame her grandpa for keeping it from her. I mean, he alienated his daughter.
I get it. I can see where you're coming from on that, but, like, come on. The body of evidence is also that, like, he destroyed his own source of power because...
I was disappointed that her grandmother never said anything in all of the years. Knowing that her husband, the grandpa, was talking to the little brother, and then she didn't say anything to the daughter. I get that the grandpa would opt not to tell her, but I was disappointed that her grandmother left her out of the loop.
I can see that, but that felt very real to me as well. Right, like not wanting to tear the family apart over something. That rang really true.
But that was that was kind of one of my pedestal problem things, because she was motherfucking Lucera. She was the phoenix of the Shadowshapers. Like, this hyper-powerful, like, god mode person, but, like...
Well, and it was going to pass to Sierra.
Yeah.
You would think she would have mentioned it for that reason, like, FYI.
Like, heads up.
This is coming.
Gonna want to know
I mean,
this.
she did die unexpectedly.
I understand that too, but I feel like somebody who was God mode would have been like, all right, you know what, that's cute, husband. Like, let me go, like, take care of this so you and your idiot boys can eventually, like...
I don't think so. That didn't bring... Like, it felt... She still has to go home and live with that guy, right? Like, so you don't want to do
No,
something.
I agree with that, too. Like, if he was strong-willed and kind of nasty about it, I can see her just keeping the peace and trying to figure out a way to deal with it in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know what it makes me think of? Keeping the peace and trying to deal with the fallout later reminds me of that scene in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where one of the people says the father is the head of the family, and the wife says yes, but the wife turns the neck. Like, we acknowledge that we have the power. We're not going to put you in your place yet, because we already know that ultimately we hold the power. I still think she should have told her granddaughter.
Yeah, I think she should have, but I can see and sympathize with the reasons why she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And also from a narrative perspective, the bigger reveal was more like...
It was more fun that way.
Yeah,
Like,
the bigger reveal is needed.
To go behind the curtain a little bit, but...
Well, talk about her dick grandpa, like, ripping up the riddle so she couldn't know it, and... Ugh, what a jerk.
I like that. I also kind of thought it was brave that there was no, like, oh, well, Grandpa had his reasons. No, he was just kind of a shithead.
Yeah.
Like,
He
like,
was just
no,
being a jerk. Yeah.
no, sometimes you're just kind of a dick. Like, I like that there was no attempt to, like, well, I mean, you know, if she just, this all would have been fine. No, I kind of think that it was a bold move to let Grandpa remain kind of in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely it was.
Totally. Well, this
He
leads right
reminded
into
me
the
of my
next question.
grandfather.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I was going to say, this leads into our next question, which is family dynamics. What did we think of the family dynamics involved? I thought they were very accurate.
Yeah, they seemed very accurate. Like,
I love her descriptions of I love the descriptions of the parents too. Like somehow, like the way she described her dad was super. Like I can picture this human. Like I can see exactly who this looks like. Like I thought, you know. Yeah, I thought they were really good.
The only thing that threw me, and I think this is just my own upbringing, is how often she was away from home late at night. Because my mom was hella overprotective, like kind of sick gross about it. And so I was never allowed to be out that late without reporting in or letting you know where I am or all this stuff. Like, that was the only thing that struck me is that her mom, like, pissed that she's out all the time until 0 in the morning, you know, worried about her at all?
Yeah, that was a little odd, but I just kind of suspended disbelief there.
Yeah.
I feel like just for the sake of the story.
Yeah.
Well, so I think it's because it's the city and like stuff is constantly happening. Like, so you're gonna get, you know, kids who are up to perfectly wholesome activities, but they just happen to happen at like midnight because it's New York City.
She had a lot more freedom than I ever did as a kid.
Cell phones, right?
That
That
helps.
too,
Yes. The teens these days don't even know how easy it is for them. Like, I was telling my kids, like, you can just text me and tell me where you are, and that's just like, boom.
Yeah. Just let me know.
I had to track down a payphone or whatever.
Yep.
Make a collect call because you didn't have change because of course you
I
didn't.
missed a bus or whatever, you know, like, nightmare. Yeah, that was the only thing that bugged me. I loved the aunt, the racist aunt.
Oh my god.
She was helpful in
That was like
getting
just
memories
that put
across.
down that it was so good though.
Right?
Yeah.
The scene where Sierra's like, fuck no. Tia
Yeah.
Rosa.
Yeah, I
Fuck
love
no.
when she's like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shut up for shut up forever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. How about no? Really
bye
love.
Felicia. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Like, she was just done taking shit, which I was not brave enough at that age to do such a thing, so I'm not necessarily brave enough at this age to do such a thing, so very much admire it.
That's kind of what I think of as like books for young adults are for. Like that way you can be like, yeah, wish I could do that. 13-year-old me once again, yeah, I wish I could tell my uncle to stop being such an asshole all the time. 13-year-old me instead is just like, ha ha, yeah, those people do those things.
Totally. And then my last question was Uncle Neville.
Uncle motherfucking Neville, though. Yeah.
Right?
The line for the librarian was like, wait, is he married? And Sierra's like, focus.
Right? And I was like, no, go back to that.
No,
I'm here for
more of
this.
that.
Yeah, I'm here for an Uncle Neville romance.
Yeah.
The thing with the
cute.
empty briefcase
Oh my
That was
god.
so clever.
Oh my god. That was so good.
I was dying. I was cracking up. He's
Oh.
like, it bothers people. Whatever.
Right? And then I was like, dude, white people, we really are the worst.
Yeah. So we're like, oh my god, what is going on in here?
Oh,
You
man.
put down a briefcase. Guys, it's okay.
But if I say something, I should say something.
Yeah.
Right?
Ugh.
White people, though.
It was just entertaining from top to bottom, that guy.
Yeah. It was fun when he came on screen, so to speak.
Yeah. I want a whole Uncle Neville book.
Right?
Just him being ridiculous.
I'm imagining he shows up in book 2.
God,
I sincerely hope
That
so.
was the thing. There was plenty of stuff here setting up a series, so.
Oh,
Yeah. But I like, too, that it stood alone. Like, we had a narrative arc. That narrative arc finished, and we're done with the book. Like, there was no cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'm not left, like, anxious or
cliffhanger.
dreading.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you wonder what happened to Adrian.
No, I still do not care what happened to
Yeah.
Adrian.
Die in a fire.
What happened to him? He's on a
So bad.
farm.
Die in a fire.
In my headcanon, he got zombied out of that farm, and I feel good about it.
They all did. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's better that way.
the farm just got overrun by zombies. End of story. Nobody's playing Lord of the Wilder anymore. All right, so star ratings.
Nugget rating?
Nugs.
Yeah, let's rate it. Rosie,
4.
out of 5. Oh, nuggets. Sorry, nuggets. My bad.
4 nuggets. out of
4
5.
nuggets. Izzy.
5 nuggets.
Whoop. Eris.
4 nuggets from present-day me, 5 nuggets from 13-year-old me, also with a lot of obnoxious fangirling thrown in.
Ness.
4.5 nuggets. I gave it 4 on Goodreads because you can't give half nuggets. It's worse.
Yeah, I think I'm 4.5 as well.
Yeah, I just usually round up, so
Yeah,
at this point, because of Goodreads.
totally. Good. I feel very vindicated in my choice.
Yeah, so this was no horrible short story Christmas collection with no candy cane.
No candy cane. Still offended.
Still offended.
Still mad about the candy cane.
Still mad about that.
All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Eris, who's doing our next pick.
Yes, I did. I actually picked something ahead of time, and I think I researched it well enough that it is the book that I think it is. It is called The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder by Rachel Macmillan. It is a mystery set in early 1900s Toronto.
You mean Toronto? Let's say it right, guys.
Toronto.
Toronto.
No, it's not.
Toronto. Yeah.
Philistines, all of you.
In early 1900s Toronto.
Way back.
With 2 bachelorette housemates just going around with the love of Sherlock Holmes novels, going around trying to solve some crime. I thought it was tagged as humorous, so I thought this was going to be pretty fun.
It sounds like my superhero Jane Austen novel that I can't remember the name of right now. That was so good.
So yeah,
I like
These
Bachelorette duo.
Right?
yeah.
Solving murders?
pretty
I'm
great.
yeah.
I'm in. Like, it honestly looks really good.
Yeah, it looks cute. I picked it up the other day, so
And it's also
looking forward to it.
it's also pretty. I think it's pretty short too. I think it might be sub 300 pages. I don't know. Maybe it's like in the 300 zone. I know I purposely tried to keep it short because I'm currently reading apparently an old, a former pick for this book club called The Palace Job.
Yes.
So
good.
I started that and it's been really good. So I'm like, all right,
So funny.
let's get this.
Yay,
book
enjoy
club
that.
going.
That
So,
whole trilogy is good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's mine. Here's hoping it's good. Fingers
Yay.
crossed.
All right, we're done. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for loving my book.
Look down below in the
Yeah.
doodly thingy bobber box.
Yes,
yeah,
all of our contact thingies
Yeah.
are down there.
Just in places.
All right, I'm going to stop this. Bye, people.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.